Yeah, always live. Episode 3 just started.
Live now from the Wetchin studio.
That's a great intro. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, first things first, I wanted to make a quick couple announcements here from the previous episode. But a big shout out to Tim Wu.
He's not going to Germany.
Yeah, he's not going to Germany. But thank you for the donations. Tim, Aunt Sue, my Aunt Sue, Slothball, Slayball. She'll get the joke. It's spelled funny. Minty Bear and 9 Iron to Your Nuts. Thank you guys both for your generous, kind donations. If you would like to donate more, or if anybody's listening to this, our Venmos are wide open. Oh gosh, look who just joined.
What's up, boys?
Hey, I was just thanking our generous 4 subscribers for their kind donations that they made to help fund our energy drinks.
I'd like
Are we
to
live
like
right
to
now?
thank
We are live
Manscaped.
right now.
Man,
Manscaped. Thank you, Manscaped, for sponsoring this episode.
man. Matt.
Hey, but yeah,
Welcome to our
if
Tyler,
anybody's
welcome to
tuning
our
in, we this is obviously not an energy drink review. We think 300 milligrams of caffeine at 8:30 at night might not be the best idea. So that's happening on Saturday, this Saturday, November 18th. Tune in. We still don't know a time. Just be on standby, people.
Nora Brand.
Yeah, Nora Brand. I was thinking I've got Celsius on my heart, but I don't know.
On your heart or on your mind?
Both.
That's good.
Every time I pass a gas station, I'm dreaming of. There's 2 things on my mind, and one of them is an energy drink.
Zenergy.
Zenergy. Zen is not a sin. That's what I say.
All right,
Very
if
very
you say
Baptist
so. Hey, Mac.
Hey,
Congrats to 3 months of marriage.
thank you.
Oh yeah, hey, and congrats too, Mac. I heard your wife's
Thank you.
pregnant.
Thank you.
Is that true? Is the rumor true?
No.
Okay. Hey,
Man.
what have you? Is there anything in particular that you've learned about each other so far in the 3 months?
Good answer. Good talk. Moving on.
Yeah. Now, girls will leave their hair. Their hair is going to be everywhere. Just prepare.
I got a nice dose of that from Sam Pinheiro when I lived with him my sophomore year.
Shout out
Oh,
Sam.
yeah.
Shout out Sam.
Yeah. His wasn't long hairs. They're just really curly.
Yeah.
So that's it? You've only learned that they shed?
They do shed. Not hypoallergenic. No, I mean, I think as both of you might agree, it's just like there always give and takes in life, and you're gonna figure out your strengths, but you're also equally gonna figure out your weaknesses. But together, you should be a strong team.
Yeah, could you list alphabetically or categorically each of those strengths and weaknesses that you're talking about real quick?
Bench press, squat snatch.
And these are weaknesses.
Squat. Yes, these are my weaknesses. Her strengths.
Yes, okay.
So,
But you guys, on a real note, you guys spent most of y'all's dating relationship long distance, correct?
we did.
So I'd imagine that you do have quite a bit to learn about each other. Like, has that really been an adjustment, or
It really hasn't been. So dating long
everything's flowing
distance.
well?
So yeah, dating long distance and doing our engagement long distance. What I will say is that, like, being at that distance, everything is about communication. Like, that's all you had, so you better get good at it, or there's not going to be much there. So I would say, like, and Vanessa and I went out to dinner on Friday, and we were talking about it then, like how thankful we were for the opportunity to be long distance, because I think when you date, especially like even as a Christian couple, and you may think like, oh, we're dating and our intention's marriage, a lot of those kind of, you can sort of glaze over some issues that you might have as a couple. I think when you're dating in person a lot, rather than at a distance where you're really just having to talk and communicate things and be really intentional. So yeah, I mean, obviously living together and being in the same community, that was, I'd say like the first month was really interesting because I'm like, wow, I actually get to be with her every day, and it's going to be like this for a long time now. So it's been a really great thing.
What's y'all's what's the level of comfort? Like do you poop with the door open or closed? Can she be in the same bathroom?
Whatever needs to be done will be done. Yeah.
All right.
Girls
so the
fart.
deed gets done whenever, whatever the circumstances.
Yeah. So yeah. It's
what's the disc golf scene like up there in
dude,
Cleveland?
I'm trying to go. Well, they just put a course in. Cleveland did not have a course, and then they went to having one course that's like one of the more popular courses in East Tennessee. So it's been quite a shift. So Fletcher Park, shout out to Fletcher Park. And if you're in Cleveland, you need to play because it's definitely the best course. It's better than it's better than the courses in Dalton, I would argue.
It's better than Westside.
Westside and Edwards, I'd put it up against it. Yeah, Edwards is probably more like an MPO or like a pro level course. So maybe Edwards is nice, and I do like Westside, but I would put Fletcher Park up there against either of them.
Like, is it so? Like, Edwards is just hard. Edwards is so wooded.
Yeah,
and I'm trash.
Edwards. You can't take like a beginner to Edwards. They'd be like, "This is the worst thing I've ever done. This is dumb."
Yeah.
What's the par on it?
I felt like Westside has holes that a beginner has a chance to birdie, and also some that they're just going to double or triple.
Right.
So it's a good blend.
What's the par on Edwards?
Par at Edwards is
72.
I want to say 61.
Yeah, check UDisc for that.
Yep.
Any course and you hold what the number? You're like a top 10 record holder for the course in Cleveland right now, right? You've got a top 10 score.
Dude, no way.
What did you send me the other day? Oh, you were?
I was.
They changed that quick?
That might have been like 30 days, but like overall, I'm getting smoked. Like I'm not even top 50, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Are you in a disc golf league in Cleveland?
No, there's not a league right now, like a formal like tag league or anything. But that's coming. Stay tuned. If you're in the Cleveland, Eastern Tennessee area, come by Fletcher.
I hardly know her.
Tyler mentioned disc golf. Consider that a hobby. And I actually had hobbies. I wanted to touch base on hobbies with you because you're a man of many different hobbies, as we all know.
This is true.
Any other current hobbies besides CrossFit and disc golf right now?
I'm taking it pretty easy on the hobbies because I now have a full-time job, so that's hard. But currently, I am looking at 2 BMX bikes in front of me, like 200 discs. My golf club.
You have BMX bikes right now in your apartment?
Yeah, we're about to go live right here.
Where do you take those? Is there like a park or something?
Yeah, Bradley BMX.
And did you find those on Facebook Marketplace?
No, I've had them. I used to race them.
Oh, well, let's get into that.
Okay.
When did you start that?
I think I was in sixth and seventh grade. I went hard on BMX. That was one of my early hobbies that I got obsessed with and got out of. I got second place every time I raced. In my age group, there were only 2 of us. So
how many?
I podiumed all the time.
Dude, that's a win.
The same kid dribbled me every week.
How many races did you do? Like, was it a weekly thing?
No, it was like a monthly thing, and it was over 2 years. So I think I only did like 4 formal races, but I think my dad.
How did you even get into that?
My dad had a mountain bike, and I had a crappy little bike. And he's like, "Hey, son, let's go to Louisville. Let's go to Sawyer Park in Louisville, and we're gonna go bike." and BMX bike. And I was like, okay. And then the first time we went out there, I almost like died of dehydration. Like we had to like beg a stranger for a water bottle. I was like seeing black and white. I like couldn't hear. It was crazy.
So you
I
had a
used to
little
do
hubby
BMX.
bike out there.
Yeah, but then we upgraded to these Diamondbacks. So, and I've held on to them. The beautiful thing about a hobby is it's kind of like just adding something to a Rolodex. And when you get bored, you can just spin it, and you'll come back to a new hobby, and it'll be fresh again. It's a lot of fun.
So you did that for a couple of years. What else did you do growing up?
Growing up,
Yeah,
I
like
shot
childhood.
competitively for 6 years. Shot small bore 22 rifle. Played baseball, played football, played basketball.
Would you say competitive shooting was the most serious one?
No, I'd say baseball. But I consistently shot through middle school and high school, and had a good time doing that.
Is that how you met? Which one of your friends did that? Was it Trevor?
Michael Shelton, Andrew Flowers, Patrick Flowers, Derek Russell. Those four.
Tyler, have you met any of them before? Patrick,
I
Andrew.
don't know, Mac. Have I?
If you were at the wedding, there was the three that spoke. The three that gave my three best men. Those were the shooters. Well, Trevor was in there, so Andrew and Patrick.
So at your wedding, lovely,
At my wedding.
lovely ceremony. By the way, we brought.
Did you have to leave?
Yeah. So we brought Camp with us, and then pretty quickly he was not having it. So rather than let him cry and ruin your vows, we just politely dipped on out of there. But I'm sure the best man's speeches were great. Did you shoot 22 competitively because any larger caliber you would not have been strong enough to handle the recoil?
Yes, that's actually that's the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
So is that how you met Andrew and Patrick?
No, I think our dads had sort of collaborated to get us into the 4-H shooting scene. They were homeschooled. Shout out homeschoolers. They were homeschoolers who were not Tim Tebow. They were not balling, so they needed a sport, and shooting was like they're really the only avenue they could pursue. So,
Wow, you're really gonna limit them to shoot?
Yeah. Hey, Patrick's in a. People always talk about like what it's student athletes, like that's a big deal. Here's a much harder thing: be a part-time adult athlete. Shout out Patrick Flowers. He's been tearing it up at the local jiu-jitsu scene. 4-stripe white belt killer.
Let's go, dude. He's on. What's the next belt? Blue.
Blue, dude. They're holding him back. They're just letting him marinate on that last stripe. But he's lost like 25 pounds. He's been doing that for like 2 years now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Shout out to Patrick.
So jiu-jitsu, how long ago did that start in Israel? Like what's the history of it? The roots
Of jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
I believe Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So
okay. So not the
originally it came from Japan. Guy got kicked out of Japan, sorta. Went to Brazil, trained a bunch of guys to fight. It was big in Brazil, and then it just spread. Well, it got big. It got really big when one of the Gracie family members came to the UFC, and then it took national prominence because it was like the concept of a smaller guy being able to beat up someone based off technique rather than size or strength.
So it has nothing to do with Israel at all.
Believe it or not, no.
I was convinced that it was jiu-jitsu. I don't know.
That is fair. That's an easy mistake. Honest mistake.
Yeah, honest. Scout's honest.
I ain't lying. This is honest.
Time out here. We have one viewer. I feel like that's worth the recognition.
Tell me it's
And
Tim.
if this one viewer wants to comment, we can see the comment. I don't know if they know how live streams work, but this very well could be my dad. Anyways, hey, Tyler, how much longer do you have available?
Boys, it's bath time and bedtime coming up. So I mean, I've got probably 5 to 10 minutes of.
Okay. Any last remarks that you want to get over with?
Man, I don't know.
I've got a whole list of stuff that I'd love to touch on, and I feel like we just touched on everything without any structure. So let's keep this up and go no structure.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're grilling Mac, Mac, I know you have, I don't know if it's an annual or semi-annual camping trip in the Daniel Boone National Forest.
That's
usually
true.
Perhaps in the wintertime.
Yeah.
You know me, I love backpacking, all things backpacking, camping. Any chance we can get something like that on the books while you're here in Southeast Tennessee?
Dude,
That exclusive?
How about this? Formally on live mainstream podcast, I'll invite both of you to come this year. It's scheduled.
Oh, okay.
January 6th.
Oh,
I will have a 2-week-old baby by then.
He is invited.
Yeah, I might bring him. I'll talk it over with the wife later.
dude,
Yeah.
don't and just take him. That would be the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
For your marriage and for
That's
parenting,
the
just
top part.
take the baby somewhere. Don't tell mama where you took him. It's great.
Good for everybody.
January 6th, huh? Nice and warm.
Where is it? Where's this gonna be taking place?
Daniel Boone National Forest. In
Is
an
that like
undisclosed location, unless you commit to the trip. Then I'll share.
Oh, see this
Sounds
stuff because
like
it could
a
just be like Clayton Stevens' backyard. You know, for all I know.
Could be.
That's
be.
why. I don't know. You're not selling it real good on live TV.
Well, not too many people can know about it. So it's actually kind of government. You know, I'm dancing on the line of legality.
Boys, this is I think it's about time to start bath and bedtime here. So I'm gonna go ahead and log off. But it's been real. It's been fun.
Been real. Good to see you.
See Tyler.
See you.
Finally.
All right.
Gosh.
Now for the real stuff, dude. Okay. I wanted to go back to the whole marriage thing. You said that you learn each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Yep.
One question. I mean, at the Wetchen household, you got the wonderful opportunity to live with us for.
Yeah. Let's give the people some context.
Yeah. So Mac and I have been friends for a long time. Okay. Since college, 2016, which we'll get into that in a second. In July of, what was it, 22 last year?
Yeah, I believe
You
so.
moved down mid-July.
I did.
Took a job with Beacon Fisheries, a seafood importer and distributor and wholesaler, whatever. Anyways, me and Addie are married, obviously. We take him under our wing. We have the blessing of parenting / being friends. Interesting dynamic. But anyways,
we made it work. We made
it work. And it was awesome. And Mac is now married to Vanessa.
I had to leave the Wetjen roost.
Yeah, he jumped out of the nest. He flapped his wings. He took flight. And now he is a full-grown man succeeding in life in a town called Cleveland, Tennessee.
That's right.
So, with that being said, you're familiar with kind of mine and Addie's dynamic. You obviously saw that I suck at cooking, and I might cook maybe two meals a month.
Yep.
If Addie's lucky enough.
She's been nice. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like, okay, obviously cooking is a weakness of mine. Our definitions of cleanliness a little different. In fact, this was a first this morning, but 7:45 a.m. she's deep cleaning the guest bathroom. No good reason. But I was definitely I was making breakfast, so yeah, I didn't feel too bad about not helping on that one. But yeah, anyways, just as a curiosity, you know, is there anything like that? Like, is there any roles that have been established? Like, who's cooking? Do you guys both go grocery shopping, or does one mainly do the grocery shopping? Stuff like that.
So yeah, just to give kind of a life update on that. Like right now she's cooking. I would say we both enjoy cooking. Obviously, when I was living with you guys and before, I got used to cooking for myself, and I knew what worked well for me, and I knew that I could buy X, Y, and Z for X amount of money every week and be good. We've kind of incorporated that. Vanessa's pretty like allergenic and deals with some like stomach inflammation. So her diet was also pretty simple. So I basically lived on hamburger, sweet potato, and blueberries.
Yep.
For a year. It was great.
There is a small season of tilapia fillets that you went through.
I did.
I also saw you consume probably 3 to 4 smoothies a day at one point.
Yep, I crushed some.
What else did you get? But the big thing, hamburger patties and sweet potatoes.
Yeah, crushed them.
The acai bowl kick, that was a good one. I really did enjoy seeing what food kicks you would come home with and how long they would last. It was very interesting, and I was honestly, I'm impressed that the hamburger and sweet potatoes have lasted so long.
Yeah. So right now, as I'm doing this world famous podcast, she's cooking hamburgers and sweet potato fries. So
classic.
It's perfect. But something that we've always shopped together, or like when we go to shop, but a big breakthrough for us in like the last month and a half has been the Walmart pickup. If it's over $40, it's free.
Dude.
So that what we'll do is we'll be like, hey, let's kind of take inventory. I'm like, hey, I need tortilla shells because I'll do like tortilla, peanut butter, and a protein shake right after I work out. Mm-hmm. We'll just kind of open the fridge, look through, be like, all right, what do we need? Throw it in a Walmart cart. Set our pickup time for after the workout because our gym is halfway to Walmart.
Nice.
So we'll set our pickup time to like whatever time we're going to be done with CrossFit, go get the food, come back. You pull up, you text them you're there, they walk out, put it in your trunk, you just pull off.
Dude, it's so easy. And me and Addie, I think we've done it twice. Like we just started it too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, before we started doing this, we would go to like Aldi on a Saturday morning, or Addie would.
At minimum, you spend 2 hours.
Yeah, it's such a hassle. You got to go out. The whole morning's wasted. And so It's like now, I mean, my work schedule is pretty flexible. So Addie will typically fill up a cart. She'll make a cart on the app, and then she'll add me to the pickup.
Yep.
The pickup people. And she'll be like, all right, pickup's ready at 4 to 5 or whatever. There's the window. And then I'll go if I've got nothing going on. I'm picking it up.
Our wives are on the same wavelength.
Dude, it's amazing. If you don't use Walmart pickup,
Walmart sponsored the podcast. What's the name?
We 10 out of 10 recommend it.
What's the name of this podcast?
The Trey and Tyler podcast. It's about to be a Trey and maybe Tyler podcast.
Trey, maybe Tyler, maybe Mac.
Maybe Mac. Mac could be a frequent guest. We don't know.
Yeah, I could be a spot. Yeah, Walmart pickup. Shout out. To loop that back to the conversation of like what roles have we assumed. So I'd say it's more like optimizing what's like who's better at X, Y, or Z. Like we both enjoy cooking. Like we probably split it 60-40, 60% her, 40% me.
Good balance.
And that could change week by week. And she's a GA with she's getting her MBA, so she's a GA for the softball team. So we're still busy a lot. I get up, I work till 6 p.m. Usually we go work out at 6:30, and she's at softball. And the first time we really get to hang out in the day, it's either we get up early and hang out, or it's at our CrossFit class. Then we'll hang out in the evening. So as little time as we can waste in the time that we have together, that's kind of the goal. So that's where the Walmart pickup came out of. Like, how do we maximize this time together and not waste an hour and a half in Walmart? And I'll get lost going down the Lego aisle. There's another hobby for you. Lego investing.
Legos.
I have thousands of dollars of unopened Lego Star Wars sets.
That's impressive. And what's the plan there? Are you trying to sell them someday?
Long-term hold, baby.
Long-term hold, long hold.
Legos only go up.
Also,
just for you.
What is that? Gator hater. We don't need to see that. We don't need to see that.
Kids, cover your eyes.
Yeah. Hey, what's y'all's free time look like? Like when you say you hang out, what's that look like?
So she has somewhat of a community here. But obviously I think an eye-opening thing getting married was going from like you and your singleness to now you with a wife and your friend groups. Like the friend dynamics, I think, change. And I don't say that like saying, oh, if you have a friend who is single or friends who are married, like everything changes. But especially as Christians, I think like if we were to become one, I think that a lot of your core friendships should probably somewhat reflect that as well. So thankfully, like I have friends who are married, like you, Tyler, friends from back home, Trevor, Andrew, Chase, who I can really, or Don Kelly, and other friends. I have many other married friends, but just those that come to mind. That now it's like, okay, I get like, because at times you'll be like, man, why won't so and so hang out with me anymore? Well, they're married. They have a bride. Like, so,
yeah. And it's also easier to like as a married guy, like as a couple or as a husband, you kind of want to hang out with your wife. So like hanging out with
ideally you want to hang out with your wife. Yes.
Yeah. And when you have like your single friends, it's hard. I mean, there's like a part of you kind of feels guilty for like leaving your wife.
Yep.
To go hang out with your single friend, which there's no problem. There's really isn't a problem with that, but you just like, you got to find time to still hang out with your wife. So if you're not hanging out, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but.
And for the viewers who never saw it, Trey, Addie, and I never really, like, we all lived in the same apartment, but it was like we were on different work shifts. So it was like I would come in late, like beyond 8:30 p.m. You guys were already asleep a lot of times. And then y'all would both be up early, and I'd get up later. So it like, but in saying that, like I think you got to respect a married couple space, and a married couple have to respect someone in singleness a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that just in our scenario. I'm saying that for anybody who is single right now or who is married listening to this, like just respecting where your friends are at in each season of their life is important.
Yeah. And there's I mean, I still have plenty of single friends down here that I really enjoy hanging out with. And
absolutely, I
would say we do pretty good for one being single and one being married to get together and hang out. So that's, no shade on single people.
No, shout out. I've been single a lot longer than married.
So what you were saying was you guys hang out with a lot more married people. Is that what you were trying to get at?
So yes, wrapping back to that is like finding our community of young married couples here. So gotten involved in a PCA church. Shout out PCA. You'll probably never sponsor this podcast.
No chance.
Trinity, which is a PCA church here in Cleveland. We've been getting plugged in there, and they're a really good multi-generational church. Like I sat down with one of their pastors, Sam Brown, and he and I was asking him sort of like the theory behind, why don't you have a young married group? That's like in a lot of these big churches or more popular churches, you'll have these isolated groups of like 20 to 25 year olds, 25 to 30 year olds. And he's like, our goal is to, and this is a really good line, but he's like, we want you to be able to hold the door open for elders, but also have your knees wobbled by kids running around you. So he's like, that's what we want our church to look like. And I thought that was a good analogy for what a church is. So in saying that, we are building trying to build a community here in Cleveland of other young, like-minded married couples. But in saying that also, Vanessa has a lot of great friends who are single right now, who we also spend time with. So it has been a lot of fun. Shout out to the singles.
So you guys are at a different church than where you got married, correct?
We are. Yep. Got married in First Baptist, and we are currently attending Trinity. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys start there as soon as you guys got married?
No. For a few weeks, we did go to First Baptist, and I really enjoy First Baptist, and I think they do a lot of awesome ministry. But I think going to Covenant College, shout out Covenant, maybe sponsor this podcast.
Covenant, I feel like Covenant's been
Covenant
mentioned probably
graduate,
every episode.
Tyler, Covenant dropout, the grad and the dropout. That's the new podcast name.
Yes.
But in saying that, like, I did really come to an appreciation of the PCA, and like I think the mission statement or not just the mission statement, but just like a tagline that Trinity uses is equipping and maturing disciples of Jesus Christ, or something along those lines.
Equipping and what?
Equipping and discipling mature followers of Jesus Christ, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But even thinking back to what is it, Christ Church East in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
That PCA church. I just remember going from 1122. So if people who are listening to this are familiar with Joby Martin, big mega church in Jacksonville, Florida, also doing a lot of cool ministry. But just if you're not getting immediately plugged in, and if you're not super intentional and involved in a major way, I think it's easy to get lost. And I really, to my discredit, wasn't getting involved in 1122. And really, I didn't get that involved with Christ Church East either. But I also found in each of the worship services, like, just such an opportunity to really sit and reflect and think about, like, the word of God that's being preached over you, and like getting to apply that to your everyday. And seeing you and Addie just get really plugged in there was really encouraging. So for Vanessa and I wanted somewhere similar. And so, yeah, the Trinity Church here in Cleveland's been awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. And I mean, from your point of view, it was probably pretty difficult to feel motivated, if you want to call it that, to get plugged into a church when you know you're not going to be there for
when I knew I was
a prolonged period.
It's a weird limbo for sure. And how do you invest in friendships there that you won't see for long periods of time? So
yeah. I wanted to talk about CrossFit, obviously. I feel like that was one of the cornerstones of our friendship, and
for sure.
We met each other in the Covenant Scots gym
doing a WOD,
doing a workout. I think I saw your black Nike Metcons, and I was like, that guy obviously knows about CrossFit. And then I kind of like checked you out and was like making sure you moved well and stuff like that. But anyways,
he's under 5'9". He's got to be a CrossFitter.
Yeah. And dude, I think I was in a pair of Kobe's when I first.
I did. I was like, this guy is moving like he knows CrossFit, but he's wearing these goofy shoes.
Yes, I don't know if I was
purple, they were purple Kobe's.
They were like, turquoise and purple, like not me. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was curious because I don't think I've ever asked you this, but like, how did you find CrossFit?
So my youth pastor in high school, Mac Murray, was working.
Youth pastor?
Youth pastor, yeah. He was always like, man, you got to try this out. You got to try this CrossFit out. And I had just finished my senior year of football in early November. And
in 2015?
Yeah, 2015. And then Mac, my youth pastor is also named Mac. He said, hey, you got to come out, try this CrossFit. I was like, okay. So I went out, as most gyms do. You have your free week, and I got my week's worth. So Mac Marie got me out there. Ross Wright is still the gym owner of CrossFit E2, equipping and encouraging. And it's really been used as like a really great outreach tool to not only help people physically, but there are a lot of really strong believers out there, and that continue to do a lot of awesome ministry. So CrossFit E2 is where I started my senior year of high school,
And were you doing anything previously, like fitness wise, before CrossFit?
Yeah. No, I was always lifting for baseball. I wanted to play baseball at Covenant College, where Trey and I went. And I just always had it in my mind, I'm going to play college baseball. I love baseball. I was obsessed. And playing football just my senior year, I realized, man, I missed playing the best sport every year of high school except this one. So I was like, that stinks. So I was like, baseball is not as fun as football, but I'm going to play my senior year anyways because I'm this far and I have a goal of playing collegiate baseball. So that really just fizzled out once I found CrossFit. As you know, I'm kind of a hobbyist. And so once I found it and I was like, you can compete, like you can measure not only yourself, but compete with others. I was hooked. So from November 2016 till, probably late in our sophomore year of college, I was going consistently or doing CrossFit consistently.
Yeah. And when you got to Covenant, you just trained primarily in the gym?
Yep. So Trey, if we could describe the Covenant gym, which it's nice now. So shout out to,
I've heard it's gotten some good upgrades.
And others in the athletic department there at Covenant who have gotten legit gym equipment. But at the time, I mean, it was pretty rough. It was pretty dismal. I mean, I tried to never complain about it because it's kind of like this. You can complain about your gym, but if you're not showing up 5 to 6 days a week and you're complaining about it, like maybe put more energy in the gym than complaining about your setup. So you and I started working out. Really, we have something else here. Oh, let's go. This was the crew. Do you have the date on that?
It was sometime 2016 fall semester, I think.
Yeah. So this crew here was like
OG.
Consistent. Like we were consistent So Trey and I showed up as freshmen in 2016. Obviously I was on the Rich Froning high. I wanted to be a CrossFit champ. I was like 145, 150 pounds, probably just like, I think I can overhead squat 405 eventually.
Yeah. And I think I was a lanky 165.
Yeah, dude. Just.
I mean, we were all like noobs.
Yeah.
Low key. I mean, we all moved pretty decently actually for not like.
Steven Co. If you listen to this, you had and potentially still have unbelievable CrossFit potential.
Yeah. 100%,
just the dude had beautiful quads. His long shorts don't do those justice at all.
Yeah, he needs to hike those things up a little bit.
Yeah.
At least over the kneecap.
5 inches. Let's see. We have some studs in this group.
But
left to right here, we have Trevor Partain, like Chick-fil-A extraordinaire now. He's doing well in life. Steven Co. also Chick-fil-A, I'm pretty sure.
Out in California?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I saw him at Matthew's wedding. Max Stevens. Enough said. Matthew Harvey.
Doing some weird anything. He's working out his scoliosis.
Yeah, I don't know. This does not do him justice, but in Atlanta was also doing Chick-fil-A stuff, I believe.
Yeah, I think he's still working there.
Yeah. Trey Wetgen, looking at roofs.
That was a herniated Trey, actually.
Oh, yeah, if you look close,
if you look closely, you're going to have to screenshot and zoom in, but about 3 inches above the belly button, you can see a little baby bulge there.
Jonah Kerrigan, now a chiropractor in Hawaii.
Dr. Mullet, I think is his name.
Dr. Mullet. And that is, I don't know if John Owen's going to, he's not on Facebook or social media, but he is in a branch of the U.S. military. I won't disclose anymore because he's pretty sensitive about this stuff.
Yeah, this man needs witness protection, actually.
Yeah, we're this podcast is getting burned probably after this now. But yeah, everybody in that picture is doing well. And the common theme, CrossFit. So there's your advertisement.
Yeah, I think we called ourselves the Booty Gang Disciples.
Booty Gang Disciples, but then our formal group, so we didn't get sued, was called Scottsfit. And that rolled into our sophomore year when we had Liam. Oh, I also had another picture that I wanted to share. Because we did a little competition together. Yeah, the Festivus Games, and
we took gold.
We kind of killed it.
Yeah, we low-key crushed it. Probably shouldn't have competed in Festivus because that's like a entry level competition. I feel like we're pretty experienced.
There were some horses though. There were some horses in there. They were on a cycler too, so their cardio wasn't there, but their strength was.
Yeah, I do remember them ripping like 405 for reps on deadlifts, and we were shrimps.
Yeah, but 340, and we were like, that'll get it done.
That's a PR.
That'll get it done. I still got
has your so you're doing CrossFit now?
Yes.
And obviously you kind of took like a little hiatus, I think, from what I understand, after graduation, maybe even before graduation, but now you're back in it. And I was curious, like, has your reason for training changed? Like I mean, we obviously competing is fun. And I mean, would you still compete, or like you're not training to compete right now, right? You're just training to be athletic.
Goals. So just to I'll give you this podcast is quickly devolving into just a CrossFit podcast, which I'm a fan of. I like it. Let's keep going this direction.
Yeah, I mean, this is like one of my last questions.
No, I love it. So when I got into it in 2015, November 2015, all the way through probably our sophomore year, I had the dream of like doing higher level competition. And I think probably you did too. Took a break after our sophomore year, did some strict like hypertrophy, strength training. After I hurt my shoulder doing rugby our sophomore year, if you remember, that was like, it was a major inhibitor. So I did a lot of strict stuff. I made it work. I don't really know if I got back into it. Like, I'm trying to think if you and I really got back into it at all after that. I think you were consistently sort of doing it. There was a season, though. There was a season. You, Liam, and I were doing the programming. So we had taken a break. It was like our junior year, maybe. It was like for 3 or 4 months. And I remember I hit a 240 clean, and I was like, that was sick.
A what? A 240 clean?
Yeah. I was like, this is sick. This programming is legit. And then I think we just kind of stopped doing that.
Yeah. It was tough. I feel like I went in phases, at least through college, of like motivation. I mean, I would either get really busy with school or tennis would start up, and I just didn't have the energy or time sometimes.
Yeah. But I think to look back on our college career and just thinking about fitness in general, I think both of us were always in the gym in some capacity. Like, I don't think I took more than a week off ever at Covenant for just being in the gym. I worked in the gym for 2 years, but like actually being in and doing some level of programming, I don't think I took like a week off. And all that to say, hindsight would be like, if I were really focused and smart about going into college, I would have used those 4 years as to build a much better fitness base and just like stick with the Mayhem programming or stick with some level of like Invictus's programming or whoever I chose, like make a decision and stick with them for my college career.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah. You don't really, I mean, it's a pet peeve of mine when people jump from programming to programming.
Yeah.
And they just pick and choose workouts.
Right.
You just got to trust the process.
Right. Yeah.
But
and I think of all the programming so E2 did the Invictus stuff. And so I started wanting to compete for those years, got back out of it. Once we got out of college, during COVID, I started doing some CrossFit stuff because my dad was doing CrossFit still. So I had an assault bike, a barbell, and stuff in the garage that the gym had loaned him. So once COVID ended, I went back to CrossFit E2 because I was back home for a few years. And I did like 3 months, took off a few months. Then I did the Nick Bear marathon lifting programming, did that, then went back and got into CrossFit again at E2 just in time for the Open in 2022, I want to say. So I did all the Open workouts with them, and I was like, man, CrossFit's so fun. But then I was moving to Florida, and then I was also training for the Ironman and running and stuff. So
yeah, and that's something that I want to touch on because I am thinking about doing a half Ironman.
Yep.
And I mean, you've obviously raced the full Ironman in September of 2022 in Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What was like? Did you specifically train endurance training, or did you like mix it up with CrossFit? Like, how did you train for that, or did you like follow a certain program for the Ironman?
Well, I trained pretty unwisely, if you remember, because I moved down like in crunch
A
time.
month and a half before the race.
Yeah, I moved down, and so I went from like perfect training environment of the hills of Kentucky to like 10. Like I remember doing like an 8-mile run, and it was like your elevation change was 10 feet.
Yeah,
I was like, this is great. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Ironman races, it's like you start out with a 2.2. Let's see. It's a either way. It's like a 2-mile swim over a 2 mile. It's like 2.4.
Yeah, a little over 2-mile swim.
Then it's in Chattanooga. It's the longest bike path of all Ironman. It's like 116 miles on the bike, and then there's just a marathon, a 26.2 mile run, and the road bike course and the road run course are two of the harder running bikes in North America. So the swim's awesome. The swim was easy, and that was the thing I was most worried about. But in saying that, I did not train efficiently. You remember, I would go and like spend 3 or 4 hours trying to swim. It like the Nocatee, was it Nocatee or I forget what
Cecil,
it was.
It was like was it the Cecil?
It's Cecil Aquatic Center, which is an awesome aquatic center down or outside of Jacksonville. But because of the timing of the year, like there's lightning every.
There's a storm every afternoon.
Right. So, and by the time we got off work, I was already tired from work, and then because swimming was the thing I was worried most about because I was already in running shape moving down to Florida. But no CrossFit in there. If I were to go back and this is the training program I followed honestly from the beginning, very loosely. I didn't even do this all the way through, but I would do what I could, was the easy Ironman training for dummies. I just went and like downloaded that PDF and
did you have the book for that, or was that
it's just an online PDF. Okay. I can forward it to you. But yeah, I think in hindsight, like because I knew like originally my goal was like 12 hours, 12 and a half hours. And then like just realistically, like kind of typing my running and training times into Ironman calculators, I was slowly realizing like I'm not going to have an impressive time by any means. So
yeah, it's a freaking long race.
Yeah. And shout out to you guys. There were you guys, Chapman, Bethany, trying to think of some other friends who were there.
I mean, Patrick,
Trevor.
Yeah, Patrick and Trevor were there.
Yeah, did it with my boy Don Kelly Flowers. Shout out to Don Kelly.
Did you at any point in the race? Did you see him on the?
We were like within 200 yards at one point on the run or something, but it was outside of the swim. So I think he jumped in front of me.
Like right in front of you, like you guys were in the corral together?
He got out of the water, I think, behind me. And in my mind, though, I was like, this is a long race. At the transitions, I'm taking 15 minutes. So 30 minutes of my race time were blocked out. Like as soon as I walked in the transition tent, I was like, I'm starting a 15-minute timer, and I'm not leaving. Because a lot of guys are going in, they're stripping, they're going, and it's like 2.5 minutes. Like, and that's great when you're trying to shave time, but I was trying to finish. So
yeah,
I'd say like, especially even in a half tray, like just take your like set amount of time that you want to take in transition, because in the end it's like, okay, I finished in 14, 20, 51, and it's like realistically I could have taken those 20 minutes off the race, but I didn't, and that's okay, because that's what I said before the race. I was like, I'm taking 15 minutes in each transition.
Yeah, you stuck to the game plan. Yeah,
and I was happy. I finished. So I think a half's a great idea for anybody, especially right now. Like, I don't think you have to necessarily. Are you consistently still doing CrossFit?
Yeah, and I'd like to keep my CrossFit training, because here's the thing: CrossFit builds overall fitness.
Yep.
And so I have a lot of friends who know my passion for CrossFit. And I would love to prove to them, just to show them how CrossFit can prepare you. Now, I will definitely say I've been running a little more. Like, you have to mix in endurance stuff. Like
Right.
you just have to. But if I can get through by like 70-80% CrossFit training, not lose a ton of muscle mass,
Yep.
and sacrifice, because endurance training is one facet of fitness.
Yep.
And to train just endurance, I think, is just unwise. Like there's so much more potential that anybody's body can do just beside than running, swimming, and biking.
Yep.
And it's just a cool opportunity to show people that you can do more than just train endurance and still do decent.
Succeed.
Like
I agree. I forget who's doing the programming at Mayhem.
Jake Lockhart.
Jake. I'm pretty sure he just did Ironman Chattanooga.
Yeah, he did.
So Kelsey, who owns the gym here, CrossFit Mountain Valley, he and Jake are friends. And Jake stopped in when on Fridays in the summer, our gym will do like swim workouts. And he came by and did a swim workout. But Kelsey, who's the gym owner, and a few other guys went and did Rich's, like, he has like a big trail race challenge thing. And he said,
is it in Alabama?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kelsey had a team, and he was telling me how like Jake's running endurance was so good, but it was at such a slow pace, which I think is definitely a factor in endurance training. Like you just get used to that long mundane stuff rather than like when you really have to push.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're just a pro triathlete who weighs 140 pounds and that's all you're doing. But
yeah.
For me, like as someone who loves hobbies and loves different things, like yesterday I worked on a snatch, and today I worked on my assault bike and handstand or wall walks. It's like there's no better variability to what I'm doing, especially working a remote job. Like I feel confident just consistently doing CrossFit in my fitness, even more so than when I was doing a lot of endurance stuff. Like I'm confident I could go do it. I think I could go and do like the half Ironman in Chattanooga if I just keep consistently doing the Mayhem programming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as much as it is an endurance test, these triathlons, would you also say like it's a pretty big like it's also like almost like an eating competition?
Yeah,
because you have to continue to just
it's
eat,
all
right?
It's all about preparing your body and gaming the nutrition. Because on the bike for 50 miles, my stomach was locked up because I had gone through pretty much all of my on-course nutrition, and then I was like, well, what's it going to hurt me to take this stuff or eat a banana or whatever? But you could just feel your stomach like stop. Like it's hard to describe, but it's like a rock in your stomach, and you can feel the food like not processing. It's a terrible feeling.
That does sound awful.
But
But did you train, like when you went and ran or did long bike sessions, did you intake any foods during that? Like, did you train? Okay.
I was using the Cliff Bar gels.
Okay.
That's what I would do. I mean, there's much more of a science to it. And even now, like in my daily fitness, I realized how little sodium I was taking in, because the last 6 miles of the Ironman, I was just losing liquid. Like no matter what, because at that point, you're kind of preparing yourself for those last 6 miles. Essentially, you're doing 130 plus miles to get to those last 6 and still be on your feet. Because the last 6, like I just started peeing, and I was like, okay, like I need to stop peeing or feeling the need to pee, but I just couldn't. Like, so anything I took in, like 5 minutes later I had to stop and pee. So,
jeez.
Yeah, it's kind of scary because you're like, it's unhealthy for you to do these endurance things.
Yeah.
And you're like, your body's like rejecting everything you're trying to do, and it's like, oh crap. So, yeah, and yeah, I would say a half Ironman would definitely. I'm happy I did the Ironman for sure. I wouldn't call myself. Some of these people like get into Ironman tattoos and become like
they fully immerse themselves.
Becomes their identity, but I think like having variation in your physical fitness is such a game changer, because it's like, sure, the Ironman was fun, but it's like, what am I going to do tomorrow? Like that's what I think. You've always got to be focused about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I think you'd asked me earlier, like, what am I training for now? Like, honestly, I just want to take disc golf as far as I can. I think that I could be a lower, smaller, more local pro in the next 3 years. But also, like, I love lifting heavy. So I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to train heavy because I don't want to hurt my elbow. It's like, I'm just going to train because I love being able to have this fitness that the Lord's gifted me with. And, I'm going to show up to my gym and work out with my wife and hang out with my CrossFit community. And maybe I'll do another Ironman someday, but I'm not going to give up the functional side of fitness to get skinny and slow at running. So,
yeah. And one last thing on the CrossFit thing, and then we'll put that to rest. I'm pretty sure in somewhere in the methodology, it says learn and play new sports. And that's like the whole, I mean, in my mind, we do CrossFit to further our athleticism.
Yep.
And it's after doing CrossFit for a time now, it's like you can pretty much pick up just about anything and quickly adapt to it. And you're not great at it by any means, but you're not the worst. You can like be competitive with it. It's pretty cool.
You're showing up and you're trying. I think right now I've observed more people than maybe I've just been kind of unaware of it. But I think in the last like 3 years, especially people in their 20s, it's like if they haven't ever tried something, they're just not willing to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's uncomfortable. And so, like, for me, jiu-jitsu is still like, it's still I've taken like a month and a half off. I'm planning to take it off till like the new year.
Okay.
Kind of letting my wrist heal some more because that's been a whole journey and really frustrating.
So is it pretty much back to normal?
It's
now?
like 85%.
Okay.
So it's got to warm up. Like I did the wall walks once it was a 5 rounds of 12 calories today, 4 wall walks, and then 12 more calories on the assault bike for 5 rounds, 1-to-1 work and rest time.
Okay.
So the first round I was a little sore, but after that we were cooking. We were all right.
Nice. Dude, I think it'd be really cool if we did like a little sub series on here for disc golf.
I think the disc golf media crowd is desperate and drink for like some drink of coverage of some kind.
Yeah, and
the disc golf dose.
I don't really keep up with. I mean, do you keep up with professional disc golf?
Oh yeah, I went to the tour. Vanessa and I took a little trip to the Tour Championship in Charlotte this year.
Yeah, I saw that. That looked awesome.
How about this?
I was a little jealous. I've never been to a.
It'll make you really, really like. It's so cool to see how the sport's grown. Yeah. But just seeing like guys so effortlessly like flick a zone 400 feet, you're like, that is crazy.
Yeah, it's like I can barely get a driver. 400.
Yeah.
If I don't even know if I ever have thrown at 400. Honestly.
Give me a tailwind, please.
Yeah, just pray for a tailwind. How much time do you have left, or do you need to go soon?
I'm gonna go eat here in like probably 15 minutes. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, let's definitely do a little. Let's do a disc golf and a little CrossFit.
You get old Jeff Wedgen on here.
If you want me to, I can reach out to Kelsey. He'd probably love to hop on here. He's one of Rich's friends.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I really want to have my my coach on, Colleen, too.
Oh yeah, dude, Colleen.
Dude, I'm really curious. Well, I don't want to talk about CrossFit anymore, but there's a lot of stuff that I have like questions on.
Tune into our CrossFit podcast to be determined.
Yeah, we'll figure that. We'll touch base on CrossFit again, but dude, okay. The last thing I want to talk through with you is all things Kentucky.
Let's do it.
Because we all know how much you love Kentucky. You've got a great pride in your home state. You've grown up there. We touched on it like right at the beginning with Tyler, but like what was growing up there like you got extended family there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've had grandparents there. Like it's very different than how I grew up because most of my extended family was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in Tennessee for the majority of my life.
Yeah.
So, like, how was that? Take me through that.
So, where I grew up, which is Springfield, Kentucky, and the county had about 8,000 people. It's named Washington County. because it was given on a land grant from General George Washington. And I forget who the founder of the county was, but essentially, like, it was a major region of this center of the state, and then it's been broken down, and what remains was part of the original county of Washington County. It was slow, man. I think that's one way to say it, and I say that in the best way possible, because today's so fast. Everything in our lives are so fast, and even guys our age, like who grew up in Atlanta or grew up in a city, they just can't. I feel like they can't almost sit still. And
they've never driven behind a tractor.
That's right. Yeah, they haven't gotten stuck in a line of traffic, and by traffic I mean a tractor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just like the further I am from living in Kentucky, the more I appreciate it. Just because, I mean, it's the greatest commonwealth in the nation, in my opinion, outside of Louisville. Don't go to Louisville unless you need to go there for a day and then come back. But it's just so beautiful, man. Like the rolling hills. You've really got every piece of nature that you want. If you go to the eastern part of the state, you're going to see some beautiful mountains. If you go to the western part of the state, you'll see some beautiful plains, and everywhere in between is awesome as well. So I think there was a lot of pride there. Like, my dad's a pastor, and in our church, our church was standing, like the actual church that's still there now, and my dad is still pastoring at, saw Civil War soldiers walk in front of it.
That's
on
nuts.
The way to battle in Paravel. Yeah. And so, and in the stained glass of the church, there's McElroy names. So it's like Hugh McElroy. So I was the 9th generation of McElroy to live in Springfield, Kentucky, which is kind of wild. Wow. So like you were saying, like, I think our growing ups were different. I think Tennessee, like being in a small town in Tennessee, especially in the eastern part of the state, definitely reminds me of Kentucky in the sense.
Yeah,
of
there are similarities for sure.
Yeah, outdoors opportunities. But yeah, I mean, Central Kentucky's a special place. I was outdoors a lot. Like I said, I was on a shooting team, so I was very thankful for all the time that I had in Kentucky, for sure. Like I said, it was slow, but in a good way, in a way that made you think and process. And I was very, very blessed to grow up with a great church community who pointed me towards Christ, and my parents who were very intentional with me and raised me in a way to follow Jesus. So very thankful for all that. I love going back home. I think here's a good quote for you. This is from Happy Chandler, who he was like, I think, one of the first commissioners of the MLB. Maybe not the first, but he's a very popular one. I love this quote because the further I have been from living in Kentucky, the more it's true. But it says, I've never met a Kentuckian who wasn't either thinking about going home or actually going home. So that holds very true to me. Like, I would love to get back home. Kentucky is home, so I would love to get back. Go Cats.
Yeah. Part of me wants to go back to Tennessee. And then part of me wants to. Let me see. Part of me also thinks that, like, I'm romanticizing it too much, more like, and like, it kind of scares me. Like, I'm like, I don't know if I want to see what or get what I want. I don't know. It's a weird. I don't know. I've lived in
Jacksonville. And I can pretty well.
Yeah.
If you're going to like Cookeville, or if you're going to Cleveland. Like, Cookeville and Cleveland have very similar makeups in the sense of the community is really not structured around, but an integral part of the community is a small, nice college, Tennessee Tech in Cookeville.
Yeah, Cookeville's a nice little town. In Cleveland, I enjoyed my time there for your wedding as well.
Yeah, I think if anybody spends any amount of time here, like, because obviously, like, here's the thing, there are sinners in every town, news alert, and it's not going to be awesome all the time, and it's going to rain no matter where you go. So there are going to be good days and bad days. But, I mean, Tennessee's been great to us. So
there was a repo truck. I was on my way to work. I saw a repo truck go into our apartment complex. So I was curious which Hellcat Challenger they took out, because I'm sure it was one of those. One of the 10 that are in there that none of those people can afford.
Yeah.
Okay. Last couple things. I wanted to go back to on how you met Andrew, Patrick, Trooper Trevor, and Chase.
Okay. Knock this out quick. There was a couple in our church growing up who my parents would like let me go hang out with. They were a few years younger than me, but we would just hang out. So the Hood family lived across from the Flowers. So Andrew and Patrick Flowers lived across the street, and I saw a kid ripping a Honda 50 up and down the street, and I was like, gosh, that kid is living my dream. So I've always been a guy, like, I'll just go, if I really want to talk to you or, like, know what's going on, I'll just go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So I just walked up to him and, like, flagged him down, like, waved at him. I was like,
wow,
hey.
Some things never change.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that is a sick dirt bike. He's like, thanks. And then just turned around and rode back up the street.
He just dusted you?
Yeah, pretty much. So from there, it was more like me telling my mom that I was like, I really want to be friends with those guys. And so the Hoods got me in contact with the Flowers. And then our moms basically set up play dates. And I don't think we've taken a break being friends since. We were probably like 8 or 9. So
that's awesome.
That's how I met both the twins. And man, there are just so many funny stories. You should have them on interview.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a whole Kentucky gang on.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was how I met them. They've been lifelong friends. And Trevor and I were in theater, a Willy Wonka production in our small town theater. And I was Charlie Bucket's granddad, and he was Charlie Bucket's dad. So
wow, so you were Trevor's father.
Yes. Yep. And when we were 9, we hung out one time and like built the Indiana Jones Lego set because he had one and it like broken out apart. So we got the booklets out and rebuilt the Lego set. And then we went down to the creek at our house because we were blessed enough to have property. And we took one of the Lego boats, like one of the little Lego boats it wasn't in that set, but he just had it loose. And we put some Lego minifigs and just sent them down the creek, played some Deadliest Catch, caught some crawfish. And I swear we never hung out again until like our senior year of high school in football. We just both ended up hanging out a lot. And Michael Shelton, another one of my good friends, he ended up inviting Trevor to our youth group. So how this is all tied together, Mac Murray was our youth pastor. Okay. And Trevor ended up giving his life to the Lord. And I had the opportunity or the honor of baptizing him years later, after like in 2022, I think, beginning of 2022. So, yeah, that's been a really cool friendship. So that's that. And then from Michael and myself, we were already friends with Andrew and Patrick, and we just all kind of like lumped in our friend group. So that's kind of the origin story of Trevor. And was there another friend? Oh, Chase.
Yeah. Chase.
So Chase was an engineering student with Andrew and Patrick. So Patrick.
Oh, so Chase is relatively new to the pack.
From the University of Louisville. Yeah, so he was from the University of Louisville, and Chase and Patrick ended up being in the same mechanical engineering stuff. And I don't think they had met each other before that ever. But basically, if you know Patrick and Chase, they're probably going to end up talking about guns and different things and just being good young men. And so Chase ended up getting invited on a camping trip that Tyler referenced. And we really bullied the homeschool out of him. He was very sheltered and protected, and I love him dearly. And he's very innocent or was very innocent in a lot of ways. So, and in the best way possible, though. One of the best guys. Great husband, hard worker. So, love Jesus.
All right, rapid fire.
Also dated his sister. Go ahead.
Oh, yikes! Whoa.
Not
all right.
Go ahead.
First question. Can you confirm or deny this rumor? Do you have Tourette's, or have you ever been
I've been
clinically diagnosed with Tourette's?
Yes.
No, you do have Tourette's.
I don't have it now.
Oh, but you did.
I got a flu vaccine when I was 9, and I had Tourette's-like syndrome.
Oh, okay. That might get the show canceled.
I was blinking and flexing my neck like this, like constantly, and I had to do them evenly. So I'd be like, and you couldn't mess it up. You could not mess it up. So it'd be like if you did one blink on this, or equal blinks on this side, you had to do them on this side.
Did that affect your baseball career, do you think? Were you playing baseball at that time?
It made me better. I don't know. No, I was stuck in the outfield for forever. Then I got moved to first, then sent back to the outfield.
And then you started throwing heat at some point, correct?
Throwing super slow. So I was like a nice reliever. When we would have a nice fast righty pitcher, I'd come and hit him with that slow jump. But
those knuckleballs and changeups all day.
Just change up, two-seam fastball. That was it. That's all I needed, baby.
Were you the ladies' man in high school?
No chance. I was scared.
Scared, really? You didn't have a Riz?
No Riz.
Were you more nerdy or more athlete? Which squad did you roll with?
I take this back. I didn't see myself marrying any of those women in my high school. No offense, some great ladies that I went to school with. So I was like, I'm not going to date them. I thankfully always had that outlook.
Yeah.
So I did date someone in my senior year of high school. They didn't go to my high school, but hope they're doing well. But yeah, so it was not really the ladies, man. Just didn't have the time. Didn't have time for it. Too many hobbies.
Yeah. You ain't got time for ladies in high school, dude. There's so many better things.
Yeah.
You just got to know how to talk to them because when college hits,
it's important.
Yeah.
Becomes important quickly. Yeah.
All right, dude. That's all I got for you. Thank you very much for joining last minute.
You're welcome.
And entertaining us.
You're welcome. I hope this entertained or encouraged someone.
Dude, we had like one faithful viewer the entire time. I think I saw we got up to 3 at one point.
Really?
A little bummed we didn't get any questions, but maybe they're still trying to figure that chat feature out.
I was just saying, part of the thing too is that you just got to keep consistently putting the show out there.
Yeah.
This is episode 3. This is in its infancy.
It's very much so in its infancy. I'm gonna text you later about this disc golf show, and we can maybe set something up.
You and Trevor discussing pro disc golf.
All right, I like that. And I'm going to be the person who knows nothing because even though my PDGA number be low,
your knowledge
is also low. It's even lower.
Yeah, we need to get your dad on here.
Yeah.
If Jeff, if you're watching or if
Dude,
you're watching.
I'm throwing on at some point, I'm going to throw on a live call-in feature.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
And we're just going to have people calling in But hopefully, I'll text you about it. We'll set something up.
All right.
All right, dude. Peace out.
Peace.